You're listening to the UnderGunned Productions Podcast, indie and proud, taking home recording to a whole new level. All things cool, gear, beer, production tips and tricks, and a whole lot of other cool shit. Interviews with your favorite members of the UnderGunned team, and some surprise special guests. So sit back and enjoy the podcast.
Hello and good day, everybody. Jeremiah here, coming at you with another episode of the UnderGunned Productions Podcast. And over the last few episodes, we've just been getting this podcast revved up, amped up, feeling things out. There is no rules. It's a free-for-all around here. Always has been and always will be. And over our last few episodes, we've had some guitar players on, some composers on, some remixers on, some drummers on. Just want to do a little recap. And because things have been pretty exciting for everybody in the UnderGunned world and everybody I've been associating with lately. So we got the LeGros Show, who's still writing some great riffs for the Rev Meter project there. He just came over last week and we tracked 2 more tracks, and you can check out a tracking vid on the YouTube page of that. I talked to Erickson a couple weeks ago. He's now started going to university to get his bachelor's in music, which is just awesome. Super proud of him and wish him the best of luck. Heard from James Canucks over the summer, and just after our podcast with him, he got picked up by the metal band The Faceless, which is a super progressive metal band, which is a perfect match for James and his insane drumming style, which is super exciting for him and also so well deserved. Then we had Phil, a.k.a. Turbo Kills, who's still pumping the music out, pitching his stuff around, working on his remixes, trying to bring Turbo Kills to the front line. And myself, I just been embracing the whole mixing thing, like just digging in with all I got. I think I've mixed close to 40 songs just in the last 2 months, working for some amazing clients from all corners of the world, working in all different genres, and just giving my all and loving it all. And this is exciting for myself and for everybody, and it just kind of goes to show, if you dig in and put some effort into what you love, great things will happen. Because really, there is no limits. I feel bad that I set limits upon myself my entire life, thinking, oh, I can't do that. Oh, I don't have what it takes to do that. But really, there is none of that. There is no can't. There is no, oh, I don't know. Just fucking do it, man. So today, we got a great podcast that I recorded about 3 weeks ago. I just been too busy to put it all together. My buddy, Mike Lane, who's down in Florida, and at the moment, he is probably sitting in the eye of the biggest hurricane the world has ever seen. So we're actually sending our thoughts and prayers out to him, and I hope everything's okay for him down there right now. And either he got his ass out of there or he's hunkering down and he's in the eye of that storm. So I figured this would be a good day for me to get this podcast put together. So on today's episode, we have Mike Lane. He's a bass player. He's the creative force behind 2.5 Canucks. I've been working with Mike for quite a few years now over the internet, collaborating back and forth on different songs. All right, so we're live on the line with Mike, a.k.a. Sabre Lane.
No, it's Mike Lane.
Oh, Sabre's the name of your bass, isn't it?
Yeah, I just used to use that way back when. Mike Lane has been my stage name since the 80s.
Rock, you been around, eh? And you're located down in Florida, right?
Unfortunately.
Hey, isn't that where all the hot beaches are?
Yeah, I don't like hot. I'm a North Country boy. You're talking to a guy who it couldn't be cold enough, because if it gets cold, you can always put on another layer of clothes, and when it gets too hot, you can only take off so many before they arrest you when you walk down the street.
Yeah, who's that crazy naked guy walking down the street there? Oh, that's just Mike.
Damn, he's hot. No, we have to cut that out now.
Nope, I'm not editing nothing, man. It's a free-for-all.
Uh-oh, I better be real careful.
Yeah, you better be. So I've been collaborating with you, Mike, now for probably over 5 years, eh?
2012, I think.
Yeah, it's crazy how time flies, eh? So I'm putting guitar on several of Mike's tracks, and he's throwing bass on several of mine.
The 2.5 Canucks.
Yeah, the 2.5 Canucks coming at you. Yeah, I dig it, man. Dig it.
And 4.5 Canucks and 1.5 Canucks. and 2.5 Canucks with special guests.
Yeah, the Canucks seem to be outweighing the Americans. What's going on with that?
This is nothing new. Have you heard of Rush? Or if you want to get really old, you can go back to, what year was it? I think I was probably in like 8th grade or some shit. There was Loverboy. They were like the biggest band in Canada. And then if we want to go back even more, we've got the Guess Who I've actually seen live in 2003-ish, I think. And Burton Cummings can still sing.
Oh, right on. Yeah, I'm a huge Guess Who fan. Yeah, we definitely got some bands up here. There's no doubt about it. It's the long winters, eh?
Hell yeah. Well, no. See, I'd go outside in the winter. I have no problem outside in the snow. Shit, there's pictures of me at the gun range where the snow's like up to my thighs or some shit. And I'm out there with my big old Winchester giant puffy jacket, and I don't care. Down here, though, it's another story. I don't even go fishing anymore down here. And we have the best fishing in the world, and I don't do it because it's so hot. Okay, Mike, we're done whining now.
Yeah, so let's talk some music then, Mike. Come on.
All right, so when did you start playing guitar, Jeremiah?
Shit, a long time ago. Not that I've ever actually learned to play the thing, but you know.
I don't know. When I met you in 2012, you're pretty badass.
Yeah, badass at faking it, maybe. Because it really wasn't until my late 20s, early 30s that I finally said, I got to take this thing to the next level. And that's when I really buckled down and started practicing and pushing myself to improve my chops and whatnot, eh? Because I did take a few lessons here and there when I was a kid, but never really took practicing seriously.
Oh, I don't practice much. I was in like school band from, 4th grade till 8th grade. I learned how to sight read. I used to actually be able to sight read, believe that crap or not. But, and I could show up and play whatever they wanted me to play without practicing at all.
That's an important skill. Actually, lately I've been just kind of going back and brushing up on my theory and going through the motions that way too.
No, not for me.
Yeah, it's not for everyone. It's not like we need it. Even myself, I question, like, do I need to know all this theory? But I do kind of just want this full understanding of how everything kind of works, you know? So anyways, let's go back to that 80s music story when you're talking about your music back in the 80s there before we hit record, Mike.
I don't know what you're talking about. Are you okay?
Yeah, I seen the picture and I heard the songs, man.
Uh-oh. Yeah, that picture, I'm 16 there, and that was 1980.
So when you were growing up in the 80s and living the rock and roll dream, where were you located back then?
Methuen, Massachusetts, which was about 25 miles northwest of Boston. So, like, we had Aerosmith, and by the 80s, we had the Cars. Well, it was the 70s, late 70s, I think. And what else? Jay Giles, even before that. There you go.
Oh, and they kind of all came out of that region?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right on.
We were like pre-Seattle and pre-Portland and shit.
So you get to see some of those bands back in the day then?
First real band I saw in concert was Van Halen, and it was the Boston Garden, and the sound was so horrific you didn't know what they were doing until you could hear David Lee sing some line you actually recognized. But wait, it gets better. There was a concert that was a triple header. It was Def Leppard opened, followed by the Scorpions, followed by Judas Priest. That was at the Orpheum in Boston. That's like this beautiful opera hall. I mean, it's like totally ornate, and they had like this bandshell thing going on down below. The sound, no matter where you were, was good. And we were first balcony, first row.
No, it's definitely some good shows to be seeing, man. Fucking, it's one thing you guys got going on down there is endless flow of bands just kind of touring back and forth across the states. It's every time I see these bands nowadays, not many coming up to Canada anymore. It's like, come on, guys, bring it on up here.
Black Sabbath went to Canada. The closest they came to me was like Missouri, and I wasn't going to make that drive.
Yeah, they stopped in both Calgary and Vancouver.
You should have gone. You would have appreciated it.
Yeah, it was just bad timing, unfortunately, but I don't think there's going to be a next time on that one. So,
not according to them, unless they need some money eventually and Tony Iommi doesn't die.
Yeah, they're still going strong. I can't get enough of the new 13 album. Well, it's not new now. It's been out for 2-3 years now, but it's just amazing front to back. I love everything about it.
I don't even think I realized what a big influence they were on me until I got to K-Land and shit. Stuff. I'll edit my side myself, damn it. There we go.
No editing, nothing, Mike. I said this is unedited content. And when you guys hear Mike refer to K-Land, he's actually talking about a website called Compose, where we met, where musicians from around the world gather together to collaborate online, creating songs with one another, and it's a pretty cool sight for sure. And in regards to Black Sabbath, yeah, I can't say enough, man. Huge fan, huge influence on me.
Don't think about the bands you like. Most of them were influenced by them, so... Hell, you like Soundgarden?
Yeah, Tony Iommi definitely carried a torch that lit a lot of fires in a lot of people.
Can't forget about Woolsey. You can't stand what he says these days. It's all like this. Yeah, what he's saying, because you can't enunciate very well these days, but yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely an underrated singer, that's for sure. Everyone's like, oh, Ozzy, but like, yeah, you listen to...
He was original. I don't know. He wasn't brilliant, but I don't know. He was a big influence on me. And I used to actually be able to hit those notes.
Yeah, and very melodically too, man. It's inspiring. And even at his age, he's still going strong. Like I said, you listen to the new Black Sabbath album or the new Ozzy album, and he's still pulling it off. They might be using a little bit of studio trickery in the studio, but it's still him singing, man.
Back in the 70s, he stopped doing Symptom of the Universe. And he got pissed if they started to play it.
Well, some of those tracks must have been definitely, like even the few Sabbath tracks I've tried to sing, are fucking challenging, man. It's now they just tune them down a half step or a full step, right? Make it a little easier for them.
I don't know. I know when I got to Florida, I'm allergic to everything, and I don't know. I can blame it on allergic to everything, or I can blame it on age. I used to have a real range once. I can show you stuff where I actually had a range, but now I have no more range. I have less than a 1 octave range now.
Yeah, you just got to work with that octave range, and then you're good to go, man. Knowing your range is half the battle, too, right? It's like, oh, yeah, I'm not going to go there. It's going to hurt.
Yeah. But... I've actually done stuff that hurts. It was what year? I was in Whitefield. 2000 what? We'll say 2003-ish, something like that. I could actually still sing Man in the Box, except I lost my voice for 2 weeks afterwards.
Yeah, it's just knowing, and I still haven't got there myself over the years, all the songs I've sung on, it's knowing that comfort spot. It's definitely, when you know that comfort spot, then you can really take it to the next level by utilizing range. But basically everyone only has that 1 octave range where they sit really comfortably in, right? To go down, you don't have your power, and to go up, you're utilizing to go into falsetto and all that, right? So it's...
That's one thing that kind of bummed me out. I don't have falsetto anymore. I haven't had falsetto. Actually, I never needed falsetto back in the old days. I just belt the crap out. Now my sinuses are so screwed up from allergies. There's no more falsetto. And I can scream, but it doesn't sound pretty anymore.
Well, that's perfect for hard rock and metal, Mike. Come on, man. You got it.
Yeah, except I don't want to become the Cookie Monster.
Yeah, just keep it right on that borderline of,
will we cut the mic and scream like this?
See, yeah, you do got it, man. You got to get heavier and then just embrace it, man. So, you got any new tunes you're working on now or what?
Next one is going to be a funk tune for my wife. Mom's Funky Disco Wagon. Because when the kids had to go riding with her, oh no, we have to go on Mom's Funky Disco Wagon.
Oh, right on, man.
You get KC, BG. Well, no, I don't think she was. Yeah, she actually owned Saturday Night Fever when I met her. We were 16 at the time. But I'm like, you really own this? Seriously, dude?
Yeah, no, I like the funk. Man. You definitely got a little bit of funk playing in your bass style there, so that should be a good one.
Oh, this one's kind of wild. Yeah, I'm just waiting on the drum track, and I know where to go from there. We need another Sabbath tune.
What's that, Mike?
I said we need another Sabbath tune. Those are the ones I call you for. When nobody can play it heavy enough, we have to call Jeremiah. I'm sorry. Even though he's not here anymore, we must call Jeremiah and hope he has sympathy on you.
Hell yeah, I'm down, man. No, just looking back on those songs, some of them I hadn't heard in probably 2 years, and then you've been posting your recent mixes of them, and I'm listening to them, and I remember when I was tracking, I'm like kind of second guessing myself, but listening back with fresh ears, I'm thinking, holy God damn, those were actually amazing tracks. And what I brought to the table was actually a perfect fit. I think our styles actually really complemented each other in a great way, Mike.
Oh no, you gave those stuff I didn't even give them. You gave them life I never dreamed they could have. I'm writing like 70s crap, and it's like, whoa. He's good.
Well, thanks, Mike. I was basically just following your bass lines for the most part, right? And getting in subtle little nuances here and there.
You're being kind of humble, but no, actually, I followed you on some. What was it? Who do you serve? Because originally it was like this slow ba-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, and you went ba-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. So I went and followed you after the guitar track. I retracked.
Yeah, not something I've been doing lots lately too. Is just it's good to not rush things and throw down, even if it is just a scratch of everything. And then once you figure out what was the strongest of all, be it the drums or the bass or the guitar, then retract to that, and then retract to that, so on and so forth, until you've kind of come full circle and retract everything to get to the final.
Yeah, a lot of times. Sometimes, though, kind of the first thing that goes out there kind of has the feel, and if people keep going over and over and over it, it starts getting, I don't know, you kind of lose some kind of feel, I think. I don't know. I could be wrong.
No, there's definitely something to be said there, Mike. I find that especially with lead licks, if I've already thrown 3 or 4 solos on a song and then I go back a couple days later and I try some more solos, it's usually in those first few solos where the magic spark was happening when you're excited about the track and it's not been overthought or nothing.
Oh, that's like revelation. I said to you, wow, at the end of each verse, or whatever, at the end of whatever verse, your thing accents the vocal so perfectly, and like, wow, I recorded that at like 6 a.m. And I'm like, damn.
Yeah, no, I'm a total morning person. I find I always do my best work in the morning, and putting the lead licks on things after everything else is in place, that's got to be the funnest thing for me when it comes to the whole process.
I don't think you knew how groovy that actually sounded until I told you.
No, sometimes it's just you can't listen to a song after you recorded it until you come back with fresh perspective, right? Because I think it's just because a lot of us musicians are so hard on ourselves that we're like, oh man, I can do better, right? But sometimes you just got to give it your all and trust in your instincts, and then it is what it is, right?
It's easier for me these days. I'm less impressed with myself than I was when I was like, I don't know, my teens or whatever.
Yeah, I think a part of that is just we're all such perfectionists. We want to have things just so perfect, almost too perfect. But you got to have a little bit of that kind of in you to keep getting better, or at least step up the game, right? I'm talking about stepping up the game. Let's drop one of these tracks on the listeners right now, Mike. I'm thinking a good one would be Who Do You Serve? And this is a track Mike wrote that he got me to help him with guitars on, and I did all the rhythm guitars and lead guitars. And then he also got another Mike, Wire and Wood, to sing the track, and a great drummer who's helped us with several other tracks, Andrew B. And these guys know how to step it up. So, without any further ado, who do you serve?
UnderGunned Productions Podcast.
You been divorced?
Yes, I have.
Did you get the B2000 after you got divorced?
Yes, I did.
And how did it turn out?
Things are real done good.
B2000 can never beat it.
Our banjo player used to scratch himself on stage and snip his fingers, and well, once we got the bass 2000, he not scratching no more.
Life for me is a bass 2000.
Cheers, Bass 2000!
All right, just a quick little commercial break from our new sponsors at Bass 2000. If you ain't got one, get one. All right, so that track was sounding great, Mike, man. Your mix sounds killer, so let's talk a little bit about mixing.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no, man, I think your mixing skills have come a long way over the last few years, so let's talk about this.
You want to hear what I wanted to do in the last 2.5 Canucks tunes I remixed? You'd said, if you don't stop turning down those rhythm guitars, I'm going to come down there and open up a can of Marshall on your ass. I actually was going to sit there and record something with the guitars so freaking low you could just barely hear them if I thought you'd actually show up. I was going to get the guest room ready and then put that out there and say, come on down and open up a can of Marshall on my ass. Because I think you'd be the coolest guy to hang around with. You'd be a barrel of laughs.
Yeah, I roll onto the plane with the old Marshall amp there. It's all I need is the Marshall. I'll be like, what, you got a bomb in there? No bombs, just amps.
I don't know. You look like a terrorist to me. We're not going to let you fly there.
I've been actually getting my guitars a bit louder in my mixes lately.
Now I'm going to bust your balls. Are you ready?
Yeah.
It's what Glenn Fricker calls a guitarist mix. I was doing bass player mixes, and this last batch I did, I don't know if you heard the last couple, but I've actually turned the bass down just enough so it's where it's supposed to be, because the bass is not the star of a lot of the shit, most of the shit. Stuff. I didn't say shit, I said stuff. Anyway, so I got stuff down to like the real world, but I don't think I have the guitars loud enough up for you on the last couple. But I took them out to the car. Wifey just listens to the radio. She knows what she hears. She knows what sounds like it belongs in the radio. And the last whole batch is passed with her. Yeah.
No, right on. It's definitely a challenge to get your mix to translate and sound good on all different speaker systems. It's a challenge.
That's been my whole goal, translation. Because, I mean, the early stuff you did for me, I hear it on my monitors. Wow, it sounds awesome. I'd hear it on the headphones. We both have HD 280s. Unless you have something different now. Anyway, I'm like, wow, it sounds awesome. Then I took it out to the car. I'm like, I can't hear anything. It's just like boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, yeah, no. It was weird, man. It took me a long, long time, and I'm still just starting to get it down. Last time around, where I actually kind of got close to getting it right was, let's turn the monitors down super, super low. Get everything so I can hear it nice. But if you crank them up, what happens is when you turn everything up, all your mids and your highs start getting piercing and whatever. But on my monitors, I found if I just mix them so it sounds okay, it'll really reasonably low volume on the monitors, no louder than I'm talking now. If I took it out to the car, it wasn't too bad. What I found was you have to cut the bottom end off on like the 2 bus at like 40, 44, somewhere around there. Depends what you have for tracks to work with, and that's kind of been working.
Well, that's one of the things too. All our studio monitors only really go down to like 35 hertz. We're not really hearing anything under there. And same with our headphones, right? So we're missing out on that real low end.
It's not even that. I mean, you don't hear it much. I can put the bottom where it sounds great on the monitors. I hear it sounds great on the headphones. I take it out to the car and like the whole thing is vibrating and crap. I don't know. I'm still screwing around with all this.
Yeah, no, that's why just to be safe, almost you got to just like have that nice slope and roll a lot of it off. Like if you're not hearing it on your monitors, you don't want to roll it all off, but at the same time,
There's a lot of stuff you don't hear on the monitors and the headphones. And I'll turn the monitors way the F up and leave the room, and it'll vibrate off the walls or whatever the bottom is. But once you get in a different environment like a car, and according to my wife at least, and I can't really disagree. Most people listen to music in their car, and this is not like one of those badass high-end audiophile car stereo things, whatever. It's just stock stereo with the subwoofer in a car. And there's a lot of bottom we don't hear. And as much as I love bottom, being a bass player, obviously, I've started to learn to just cut it off. And if I need a little more bass, I kind of go like Duff McKagan, and you add a little, I don't know, somewhere between 1.5 and 2K. Just push that like a dB or two so you can actually hear it on something that doesn't have like a phone or your iPad or whatever tiny speaker or whatnot. And that's kind of been working for me.
Yeah, no, I've been doing the same thing, adding a lot of 1 to 2K just to help that bass cut through the mix there. But then also now you're fighting with your guitar, right? Like,
yes.
Because that's where your guitar is kind of sitting around 3 to 5 where the good crunches in the guitar, right? But if you almost carve a little bit back where you're giving your bass spike, you can kind of get the 2 to sit good in the mid-range. And another trick I've been doing is just pulling my low pass on the EQ all the way down to 200. And then I can just kind of hear just the low end. I'll do that on my master channel, right? Then I'll go play around with the kick, the bass, and the low end of the guitar. And then, of course, I'll turn it back on within context of everything else. But just to let you hear it isolated, you can really focus on what's going on down there that way, I find. That low end's tricky, man, just when you think you kind of got her, but...
It's real hard because basically, I mean, you listen on a phone, there's no bottom end. You listen on your mobile device, whatever, no bottom end. Some monitors, I've got like 5-inch monitors here. My woofers are 5 inches. I actually have an old, what is it? Cambridge Soundworks. It was basically made for video gaming. It's like 1.5 inch speaker on each side with a little tiny, a small subwoofer, but a boomy subwoofer. And if I can make it sound good in all those, and then I take it out to the car, I'll find out the bottom is like a little too much, and I kind of cut that. And when you cut the bottom, you have to start making up for it, I don't know, somewhere. With the bass, like I said, I'm listening. If you listen to Appetite for Destruction, which you mentioned earlier, you can hear the bass. It's not overwhelming, but you can hear everything it's doing. And it doesn't overpower anybody, but it's there. And that's kind of what I've been shooting for lately.
No, sometimes that's what it calls for when you're dialing in the bass. You just want it to basically reinforce everything that's going on. But also with some of your tracks, like they're really bass driving, right? Like you're writing the track on the bass, so that's the driving force of the tune. So those songs, you can get away with bumping it up a bit more, I think.
That's another thing that's a pain in the ass. I write my crap on the bass, so it's like, well, the bass has to be there. It's written on the bass, blah, 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 and it's the main part of blah, 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 blah. There are places where it has to be there, and I don't know. Hey, where do you high pass your guitars?
Oh, that all depends. If I'm using the 7-string and I want to retain some of that low end, sometimes I'll go like 80 and under, but not cutting everything off, just kind of with a slow slope. Usually probably around 100 is a general starting point where I'll start playing, though.
Okay, so where does your bass sit? Because if your bass, basically, I don't know, the rule is kind of 100. You can go down to 80. If you go below 80, it doesn't sound so good, but... if you have the guitar cut at 100 and you have the bass around 100, accented, I guess, that's kind of, that's a hard thing for me to deal with.
No, I find every song's a bit different, but with bass, usually I'm like 50 with a slow slope again, so anything under 25 and under is pretty much completely rolled off. And then I'm usually always giving a boost around 80, a nice little spike in there from 80 to 100. And then with my kick drum, I'm boosting around 60.
60.
And that kind of makes spot for both of them to sit there comfortably together.
But have you heard that stuff in a car with like a subwoofer or whatever? Because 80 starts like making shit vibrate. You get down to 40 to 60 and 50. All of a sudden it starts like overwhelming everything. In my experience. In this car.
Right. Yeah, I have kind of bad experiences with going back to mixes from like 2008 and 2010 where my buddy played 2 of my CDs from back then in his truck with a boom, and I was just like, oh my God. It actually made the bass sound good, but just way too loud and overbearing. I just used to crank that low end from 50 to 100.
Because that's what you could hear in your monitor, and it sounded really good there.
Yeah, because it would just make the bass so big and warm, and it sounded great. But that was way before I learned about bass management. Like I said, going back good almost 10 years now. But yeah, I'm thinking about getting a sub eventually. Like, and then again, you gotta be careful when you're mixing on a sub, because now you might pull out too much bass, because I've tried bringing that bass management over the last 3 years. It's kind of gone up, and then the mix has just started sounding thin. So what I do is I walk away as far as I can from my monitors, or I'll even listen in the next room a little bit, or I have the porch that I come through to get to my studio. I'll stand in there and listen to it, and it's amazing how all of a sudden, wow, the fucking, you know when the bass is too loud, but just by walking away from your speakers, because then you get the full perspective of it. And then I got 2 different sets of monitors, and I have my one set with the bass on the back. You can kind of dial things in and add a bit of boost. I boosted the bass deliberately just to see, okay, how's the bass sounding boosted?
Yeah.
And then of course the old headphones, because headphones I find represent bass probably a lot better than your monitors do, believe it or not. There, even the Sennheisers we're talking about.
Actually, you're right. Because I'll like mix it happy on the monitors, then I'll slap on the headphones, and it's like, whoa, the kick is really loud all of a sudden. And
so what DAW are you using these days, Mike?
Sonar Platinum. I started with, what was it? I want to say 8.3, I could be wrong. And then X1, and then X3, and then Platinum. I skipped 2 altogether. I've gotten used to it, and with Platinum, it's actually not bad. It handles the CPU a lot better than everything before it. And because I grew up with it, yeah, okay. Because I'm used to it. I don't know. I can make everything be the way I want. I now actually have my own 32-track template, and I have my colors. You get your browns for the drums, the lighter, goldish things for the cymbals, and purple for the bass, blue for keyboards, kind of dark green for guitars, flaming green for leads, and I just got used to it. So...
No, right on. I love color coding all my projects too. It makes working a little bit more organized. So what are the stock plugins that come with that DAW like?
They're okay. There's actually some I use. They have the Sonatus Utils and the Cakewalk things. I actually use the Cakewalk chorus and the Sonatus Utils delay. And I've got like a buttload of, I got them separately, the Wave stuff. I have they show up in the CLA compressors. They're pretty good.
Oh yeah, no, they rock, man. I love the CLA 3A. I love that on my drum bus and other things too.
Yeah, use it on the drums. I heard that.
Oh yeah. I always put that on my drum bus, but what I've been recently loving it on is rhythm guitars, and I actually learned that from following Produce Like a Pro there, Warren Hewitt. He had one guy on there and they were talking about that. And then the other guy's like, no, I put that on all my guitars. And then I'm like, fuck, you know what? I know I tried it on my guitars years ago. And then just recently, this is going back like a month and a half. So I've been going back to my mixes because I always put the Renaissance Waves, Renaissance Axe on my guitars, but I put them on the individual and on my sub. So now on my sub, I throw the CLA 3A and instantly just brings out the best part of the tone of the guitar, I find. So I love that too, man. That's can't beat that.
Well, you'll be proud to know I use the CLA 3A on your guitars.
All right, on.
And drum occasionally, kick and, well, sometimes what I do is when I'm able to, unless I get like an overhead, whatever, and even when I get that, when I can separate the drums from the cymbals, I definitely put the 3A, sometimes when it needs it.
Yeah, between the 3 you get in that bundle there, you can't go wrong.
Oh, have you tried the LA2A as a parallel for the vocal?
No.
Or on the vocal?
Probably at one point, but yeah.
You need to try that. You'll thank me, maybe.
Yeah. No, I've been using, in January, I got the Slate Everything bundle going. I don't know if you're familiar with that, the Steven Slate Everything bundle.
Oh, you got the Slate stuff? I was going to ask you about that.
It's $20 a month. Oh, it's actually cheaper for you, but after the currency exchange, it's $20 a month for me. And you're getting about $2,000 in plugins. And then anytime a new one comes out, you get it. So you might kind of think at first, it's like, fuck, I'll never own it. And that's kind of expensive. But what you get for that is insane. And these plugins are the bomb. And then what just came out about 4 weeks ago is this tube saturation. So they had 3 different tube saturation preamps. Then it also has, you'd have to look it up on YouTube there. There's a couple good videos on it where people will walk you through all the parts of what is called is virtual mix rack. And that's one plugin in itself that has probably 20 plugins in it. So you just pull that up on your channel And then you can pull a choice of 3 EQs, a choice of 3 compressors, and then you just pick and choose and make your own chain without having to load up multiple plugins. And it fills your screen, so it's really big when you're looking at it. You can see what you're doing. And with the Raven, it's great because it's designed for the whole touch screen module and whatnot.
Oh yeah, you need to talk about the Raven.
Yeah, no, I've been digging the Raven too. It's I still use my mouse a lot though, but at the same time,
this was going to ask you about that. I mean, I can sit there and go live with my trackball and put the fader up and down, but when I put it down, I can't get it exactly where it was super quick. I'm at the point where I'd just rather draw it in. So how you doing with the Raven with that?
Well, for drawing in, it's awesome because you can zoom in and then your finger becomes the pencil, which is really cool. That's probably one of my favorite things about it. And then the fine feature thing.
Yeah, but how do you notice where you were before, say, I don't know, 5.3 dB or whatever, you push it up and then you have to bring it down to 5.3. See, I'm not good at that crap.
Well, I don't know if your DAW has it, but on Pro Tools, there's touch, latch, and write. And if you go to latch or whatever, when you take your finger off, it automatically puts the rest back where it was. So it only affects the area that you drew.
That's kind of good.
Yeah, because I've made that mistake before, and you're like, oh, what happened there? And then if you're sloppy, you pretty much got to undo and do it again, right? But, so for that kind of stuff, it's pretty cool. And then for getting a mix pulled up right when I'm starting a mix, I like it for that too, because then you can just kind of grab 2 or 3 things at once and really throw things around really quickly. But I still, like I said, I'm using that once I got my rollerball, which was right around the same time, man. They are the shit. I wish I would have bought one years ago. I really like it.
What are you using for a trackball?
Kensington. But
still not familiar.
Yeah, it's one of the popular ones. It was about $100, $120 or something like that. But again, well worth it. So much easier on your wrist. I don't know how I went years without it, but
you're talking to a guy who's got like carpal tunnel on the right hand and half a left hand. Well, actually, I won't say half a left hand. I'll say the ring finger and the pinky don't operate independently too much since 2005, but this is why I've started writing instead of trying to be a player now.
Right, that's definitely got to take a toll on your bass playing then, eh? Bummer.
It does. But you learn to live within your means.
Oh yeah, you just kind of roll with what you got and don't let it fucking bring you down. That's the key to life. Keep making music however you can, man.
You work with what you got. Anywho, back to you, Jeremiah.
So let's talk about you trying to get a band together in Florida.
Oh, God. Failure. That's the word that comes to mind. I tried for like, I don't know what, a year and a half. We went through like 14 guitar players. There was one that was adequate that could sing adequately. And then we got a guitar player who was actually pretty good, not like back when we were in Massachusetts. And he had an ego the size of Kansas, size of Alaska. There you go. And he wouldn't learn anything anyone wanted to play. And this was like down here, you can play cover tunes. And all the bands play the same cover tunes. They all play off the same set list. And I'm like, no, this sucks. Sorry. But I went with it. I persevered. And yeah, it wasn't a fun deal. Finally, I gave up. And that's when I discovered K-Land and I met you. I'm like, oh, this guy is heavy.
No, I think that's no matter where you live in the world now, it's a common theme, like to try to get a bunch of guys together on the same page, on the same mind wave, like same common musical interests and whatnot. It's challenging, man. It doesn't matter if you're in a city with 1 million people or in a small town with a couple thousand people. It's and everyone's schedules and families, and that's why there's so much more to be accomplished just from at home and collaborating, man. It's kind of sad in a way, but at the same time, it's keeping the music going, right?
And there's something to it. I mean, it's fun to sit there and you play, what was it? Not Long Tall Sally, Mustang Sally and Breakdown. And that was when I was in the town of 2000 and we lived next door to the town of 7,000 where you got to play and people showed up. And the guitar player was like the coolest, nice guy, really nice guy, very laid back, super humble. And we lost him for 18 months when he went to Iraq. He was in the National Guard. And we actually recorded some crap. The drummer and his brother, who played keyboards, got a rolling whatever 8-track, and we recorded that. And then I had going back to DAWs, Cool Edit Pro. So I brought all that crap into Cool Edit Pro when the guitar player finally came home for a little while. We hooked him into my son's, what was it?
Is it a Digitech?
Yeah, it actually was. And I hooked him into that, and he just did his solos through that. And we actually have a recording. Someday I'll remaster it, but it took me a long time to get used to just like doing stuff online. But when you do stuff online, you can sit there and like put your crap out there. Before I learned to play to a metronome, which you were the guy who said, no, you have to. I'm like, no, I hate the metronome.
Well, drum loops always work too, right? But metronome is kind of,
Yeah, but
at least that way, no matter what drum groove you end up coming up with, it'll fall into place for you.
I was still like on the, everything had to be, what's the word I want? Organic. I wanted a real drummer. Even if he was playing on triggers or whatever, or an electronic kit, I just kind of prefer that.
So say I was going to drop a couple tracks on this podcast. What do you think I should play here for the folks?
I don't know. What do you think you should play? I'm kind of liking, Oh Yeah. I think you were shocked on Oh Yeah. You're like, wow, you guys are showing this a lot of love. Well, yeah, it's really good, dude.
Well, it kind of proves that sometimes that's all you need is 4 or 5 chords, right? It's definitely...
There you go. You really got me. How many chords was that? Wild Thing, 5 chords technically if you count the chorus. But you don't need a lot of chords, you just need something hooky that sticks in your head.
All right. Oh yeah, it is. 2.5 Canucks. Mike Lane on bass, Andrew B on drums, and me on guitar and vocals.
Wait. If I can remember correctly. You're listening to UnderGunned Productions. Today we ran out of people we actually could be interesting, so we have Mike Lane, and you must listen to him whether you like it or not.
Right on. Nice welcome back, Mike. I like that. You should think about pursuing a career in voiceover. Also, kick-ass bass line on Oh Yeah, Man. You just helped up that whole hookiness of that 4-chord wonder song.
This is why I always ask to play with people who are way better than me. That's how I hooked up with you and Andy and everybody I've hooked up with.
Yeah, that's the key, man. You just get a good team built around you, and then all of a sudden you got to play better, and it kind of makes everybody step up their game, right?
Yes, exactly. Unfortunately, it took me 40-something years to figure that crap out.
Well, you see a lot of musicians and whatnot, they just they got their comfort zone and they never push themselves out of it too, right? That's kind of a trap that a lot of people fall into.
That's why I never got a band together down here. I don't want to learn anything new. I just want to do what I do, and you will do what I do. I'm sorry, I don't want to do what you do because it sucks.
No, that can be one of the biggest challenges is finding like-minded musicians where everybody really digs the same influences and digs what everybody else is bringing to the table so you can all meet in the middle and see eye to eye.
That's what I learned from 2012 on. I don't want to play cover tunes anymore. I don't want to learn somebody's crap. I just want to play what I feel to it. If you don't like it, it's groovy. If you like it, fine. I can take some direction if you need whatever, but...
Yeah, no, you kind of just got to meet in the middle, especially when it comes to online collaboration. You can't expect much, you know what I mean? And then when you do get blown away, then it's even that much more impressive. You're like, oh, wow, right?
You've blown me away multiple times, a whole lot of times, every time. Andy's blown me away, Mark's blown me away. There's some vocalists out there. You pick the right one for the song or whatever, and they'll blow the crap away.
Yeah, that's really important, having the right match too, right? Because there's some great singers out there, but if they're not a fit for your song, then sometimes things can go the wrong way. But I've been lucky myself too to work with some amazing singers because sometimes my voice ain't the right voice for my own song. Like we both got to work with Wire and Wood a few times, and that guy just smokes it every time. That guy's an exception. He seems to never miss no matter what the genre is.
Well, you're a producer. That's why it's UnderGunned Productions. And even back, 1.5 Canucks was a song. It was something I wrote in 84 and I redid. Dun, 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 dun. World's Gone Crazy. You did the production on that, and you made your cut here, you did this, whatever there, and I ended up retracking because you did such an awesome job.
Oh, thanks, Mike. Yeah, that one turned out great, and it was a great track to begin with, so that made it so much more easy and enjoyable to work on, right? And I find those great tracks always just end up producing themselves and mixing themselves. So I think this is a good opportunity to drop that track right now. The world's gone crazy, because it most certainly has with all the crazy shit going on in the world right now.
Never satisfied.
right on, Mike. Another great track. So before I let you go here, you want to give a shout out for our sponsor, the Bass 2000?
Well, I use the bass 2000 so the bass becomes above everything, because I used to do bass player mixes where nothing else matters but the bass, and the bass must be there, damn it! You must buy this pedal. It's worth any price you pay, even your soul, if you don't care where you end up.
Life for me is a Bass 2000.
Cheers, Bass 2000!
Right on. Nice one, Mike. Maybe we can help get you an endorsement there. All right. Well, thank you for taking the time out of your day to come on the show. Much appreciated, man. Always love hearing from you. Always love going back and reflecting on our tracks we've worked on. We'll have to definitely work on some more in the future. Huge thanks to all you listeners who've made it this far in the show. And until next time, cheers, Mike.
All right, then. We call it a night, then. You have a good day, Jeremiah. It's always a pleasure to meet with you.
You're listening to the UnderGunned Productions Podcast.